Coming up next, it's HBO's Boxing After Dark. We'll look back at last week's showdown between Manny Pacquiao and Marco Antonio Barrera. Then live, we'll have Juan Diaz and Julio Diaz in a lightweight unification bout. It's coming up next on HBO.
It's being called the biggest welterweight battle of the decade. Follow the footsteps of two undefeated champions, Floyd Mayweather and Ricky Hatton, 24/7, as they prepare for one of the most highly anticipated matchups in recent history.
When did you last knock someone out?
These boys can't beat me.
The unprecedented access, unvarnished truth, and raw emotion.
We're two different type of people. I'm gonna give it to you raw and uncut.
I'm a throwback. It's a refreshing change to see somebody who just lets his fist do the talking.
The perfect sequel to the most talked about sports reality series.
I'm pretty sure Ricky Hatton is gonna bring his A game. I'm gonna bring my A game.
Floyd has disrespected me all week, as I'm sure you've seen on the TV.
Mayweather Hatton 24/7. Premieres Sunday, November 18th.
You may not know me,
but I am
a champion,
undefeated,
the best in the world. I worked for this fight
my whole life, to be recognized.
And now, there's only one left. Where I'm from,
your actions define you.
Thumping right hand.
And this night
will be
my defining moment.
I am Mikkel Kessler.
I am Joe Calzaghe.
And boxing
is my life.
The following is a presentation of HBO Sports.
We welcome you to the Sears Center in the Chicago suburb of Hoffman Estates, where tonight we bring you live action from the 135-pound division with a matchup of lightweight titleists as the baby bull Juan Diaz takes on Julio Diaz with 3 of the 4 major 135-pound title belts on the line. But first, we'll take a look at the action from 1 week ago in Las Vegas, where 2 of the sport's biggest names faced off when Manny Pacquiao met Marco Antonio Barrera in a rematch of their fight 4 years ago, which Pacquiao won by 11th round knockout. Hello again, everyone. So glad you can join us for HBO's Boxing After Dark. I'm Bob Papa. No, it's not a family reunion, Juan Diaz against Julio Diaz. In fact, there's no relation. Juan Diaz is 24 years of age. He's making the 7th defense of his world championship. He's 32-0 with 16 knockouts on his resume. Julio Diaz is 27 years of age. In the prime of his career, he has 34 wins and 25 knockouts. It's the baby bull Juan Diaz in the pressure and Julio Diaz, the skilled boxer. It's going to be a very entertaining main event. But before we get to the present and future of the lightweight division, it's time to look back at 2 great champions, Manny Pacquiao and Marco Antonio Barrera. They squared off on November the 15th of 2003. Pacquiao won a thrilling 11th round knockout. It took nearly 4 years for the rematch to take place. It happened 1 week ago in Las Vegas. Pacquiao Barrera 2. It's time to take a look back and look at the tail of the tape. Pacquiao 5 years younger. Both fighters weighing in at 130 pounds. Pacquiao rehydrated to 144 pounds. Marco Antonio Barrera 138 pounds. Time to take you to Las Vegas for Pacquiao Barrera 2. Here with the call, Jim Lampley, Larry Merchant, and Emmanuel Stewart.
Will it be a repeat of San Antonio, the onslaught by Pacquiao, or will it be something different? And incidentally, forgotten, of course, after the bad beating Barrera took down in Texas that night, is that he knocked Pacquiao down in the first round. Here, they start out tactically, and now Barrera steps forward to attack.
Barrera was a 4-to-1 favorite 4 years ago. Pacquiao is a 3.5-to-1 favorite tonight.
And both fighters seem extremely conscious in the first minute, Emmanuel, of keeping their guards up and stopping anything big at the outset.
Yes, it would. And Pacquiao, I thought would come out a little bit faster than he has. But you've got to watch his straight left hand. That's the one thing that Barrera has to be watching all the time.
Barrera careful early to keep his distance so that Pacquiao can't come in and strafe him with the double left hand.
See, Pacquiao's back and back fighting too technical, and that's not his fight. And if you can get a guy like him to back up, you've got him off track already from the beginning. And that's what Barrera is doing pretty effectively.
Straight right hand for Barrera. Pacquiao hasn't landed anything of significance so far. Marco's mixed in a couple jabs, couple straight right hands. Pacquiao leads with the left. Tony Weeks already warning Barrera not to hold Pacquiao behind the head, as Marco was conscious of needing to control Manny when he got in close. Now Pacquiao starts to try to be aggressive behind the jab. Left hook to the body, one of Barrera's better weapons.
Barrera is trying to make it a tactical fight, but I think as soon as Pacquiao gets warmed up, he's going to start punching a lot more.
Only 1 minute remaining in round one. Might be a small psychological victory for Barrera to feel as though he could put a round in the books to start. Now Pacquiao lands a straight left on the chest of Barrera. Works behind his jab and tries to get closer. Manny starting to assume the role of the aggressor. Jab lands for Pacquiao. Barrera comes back with an attempted left and a right. Pacquiao lands his jab again. Barrera occasionally forcing right-hand leads.
Barrera used to be a risk taker. Now he's a risk calculator.
Pacquiao reaching with the left hand. Barrera again making sure to control Pacquiao in close. Tony Weeks again tells him don't hold behind the head. Round one is fought at a pace which suits the older fighter, Marco Antonio Barrera.
Yeah, definitely. That round would be very difficult to score.
Very nice. Keep it that way with the jab. 1-0, 1-0. Don't stay in front of him. Don't stand in front of him. Keep moving, keep moving. You're doing real good. But be careful with his head. You hit him a hook to the body. It was great. You felt it. Now keep insisting on that.
All right. Good job, Manny. A little busy with the jab, okay? And the feints are working good, okay? Yeah. You see how he's reaching for the feints? Yeah. All right? Yeah. Open him up with the feints, you hear me?
Here we see Pacquiao landing his favorite punch and his pet punch. Straight left hand through the center. Maybe the most effective punch landed in the entire first round.
Emmanuel, is there some way for Barrera to neutralize that left hand, try to make Pacquiao beat him some other way?
I think he's trying to do that, but you've had as many fights as Barrera had, you're set in your ways. But it's interesting that the most effective punch has always been the straight left hand from Pacquiao, but he's now trying to use his right hand a little bit more also. But mainly Pacquiao, you have to watch for a straight left hand.
Copy box numbers were sparse. Pacquiao 8 out of 43, Barrera 9 out of 49. You heard Barrera's brother Jorge say, go back to your left hook to the body. It's the first time in his 70 ring entrances as a professional that Barrera is not with his longtime lead trainer, Rudy Perez.
No, and he's still going straight back, not making any movement when the upper body, whatever Pacquiao comes in with that straight left. And that can be deadly. In fact, he needs to let Pacquiao miss and then punch after Pacquiao misses. That's when he's out of position.
Barrera trying to hit Pacquiao with his jab or his left to the body as Manny comes in. Tony Weeks says to Barrera, keep him up. So now he's been verbally warned twice for holding behind the head and once told to keep his punches up. But nothing in the way of a real official warning by Weeks. Barrera using small steps to keep moving in a radius, try to make it a little bit more difficult for Pacquiao to find the straight line. This is one thing Freddie Roach clearly expected, is that Barrera would fight at angles and avoid ever being squared up with the harder punching Pacquiao. Good stinging right jab by Pacquiao. He tries a hook, and Barrera taps him to the body with the right hand. Big left hand for Pacquiao. Barrera lands a left in return. Barrera shooting the right. Pacquiao leading straight up the middle with the left and landing. Good left hand by Marco Antonio Barrera. And he lands his jab. Pacquiao can't start his power punching.
Barrera is exposing a lot of the weaknesses on Pacquiao's part, particularly his balance.
Well, at the end of the day, as good a boxer as Manny Pacquiao may continue to become, and he's improved a lot, he's likely never to have the craft that Barrera has had through the latter stages of his career. Marco Antonio Barrera is a technical master of the sport.
Which is rather amazing, because there was a time when he was the Pacquiao of the sport.
The baby assassin.
But he realized when going up against fighters like Ahmed that he'd have to change his game. There's a big left hand for Pacquiao. But for the most part, by staying at angles, Barrera is blunting a lot of Pacquiao's aggressive assault.
And Pacquiao looks physically so much stronger, though.
Arms down. Okay, relax, relax. Okay? Arms down. Okay. All right, baby. Relax lang, bud. Use those combinations. Very good, okay? Yeah. All right, we have the combination, remember. In and out, okay?
Tuesday, October 23, catch the next Real Sports with Bryant Gumbel. Among the stories, a look at Iraq and how insurgents there brutally attack and kill top national athletes, forcing many of them to look for ways to escape their home nation.
Hurt him, pop him, and keep using that jab, 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 jab. Move your body also, bend your waist.
Manny Pacquiao says that he wanted a toe-to-toe fight, but that was not in the contract.
CompuBox numbers in round two. Pacquiao 24 out of 59, landing at a good high 41% connect percentage, including 16 out of 30 power shots. Barrera 15 out of 54, including 7 of 37 jabs. Marco Antonio Barrera has gotten a pace that he likes and a mostly tactical fight, but Pacquiao may still be winning the rounds. That would be discouraging to the Mexican warrior.
Barrera seems to still be a little tentative. I saw him fight before. He would counterpunch with a lot more authority. And he's having difficulty to fight in his range also.
Well, he's showing tremendous respect. And
yes.
And at some point, he may have to show less respect to have a chance.
Yes, he's going to have to, because and one thing about him, he can fight and will fight if he has to. But he's letting Barrera get Pacquiao get a good momentum right now by acting a little too timid.
Sometimes a fighter at the end of his career has difficulty pulling the trigger on what were once openings for good shots. Barrera doesn't seem to have the kind of offensive reflexes that once were the case.
No, even the reflexes that he showed when he fought Marquez.
Hard right hand over the top. Barrera stunned Pacquiao with that shot. Momentary opening for Marco to take a little more command of the fight. Pacquiao lands a left. Barrera comes right back.
Stop.
The fire is building in round number 3.
That's exactly what Barrera's got to do a lot of. When Pacquiao throws that left hand, Barrera should bend over to his right, let it go over his shoulders, and then come back with counter punches while Pacquiao is out of position.
Particularly the left hook to the body would be available.
Very effective, anything.
Pacquiao talking in the ear of Barrera as they get close to each other. You get the sense, Emmanuel, that it almost might be a benefit to Barrera if Pacquiao had a big violent rally and roughed him up a little bit, because it might loosen him up and get him into the fight.
It would ignite him only because he still can slug and stand toe-to-toe when he has to.
Yeah, but his mantra was, I have to fight not being angry, fighting under control.
Pacquiao landing his jab. Landing his jab again. Trying to find a situation for the left hand. Barrera shooting that upward hook. Pacquiao easily stepped away. Barrera goes back to throwing his jab and lands one. Barrera a little tentative with the right hand. Pacquiao not tentative with the straight left.
3-0. You see how you boxed him and you faked him? Very nice. You're doing a really good job. 3-0. And that's the way you have to keep going. Just how you're doing it now. Just how you're doing it now. Keep on it. Same thing. He's not doing anything to you.
Okay, Manny. You're here. Remember, keep stepping to your right. All right? Don't follow him.
Yeah.
All right?
Okay.
Don't follow him. Cut that ring off for me, okay?
Huwag ka sumunod, ha? Kasi umiikot sa dito. Pag ikot niya, doon ka kaagad, ha? Huwag ka sumunod.
Here you see Barrera land the right hand on Pacquiao, and he should have stepped back and been a little bit more aggressive after that to follow up, because Pacquiao gets out of position quite often in the fights.
CompuBox numbers in 3 showing Barrera's tentativeness. He was 5 out of 31. Pacquiao 15 out of 53. Let's see how Harold Letterman scored the first 3 rounds.
Okay, Jim, 3 rounds to nothing, 30-27, Manny Pacquiao. Jim, he's walking him down, coming straight forward. He's throwing that right hand, Manny Pacquiao. It's not a hard right hand. Occasional jab, he'll wave a right hook like he did just there. Not doing any damage with the right hand, but then he comes across with that straight left hand. That does score points. When Barrera punches, it's only one at a time, and he really hasn't hurt Pacquiao yet. What gets me is Freddie Roach tells this guy step to the right. He wants to go straight forward. You don't want to step to the right. 3-0, Pacquiao.
Interestingly,
I think Freddie Roach knows something about his fighter, Harold. I have it 1-1-1.
And interestingly, Marco Antonio Barrera's brother Jorge was quite expressive in the corner, saying, "You've won the first 3 rounds. You're up 3-0." He may be deluding his own brother and fighter. Chances are Marco knows better. And now they fight. Momentary flurry. Harold was right on point in saying that Barrera's throwing one punch in a round. You wonder when Marco's going to try to throw combinations.
Yeah. Barrera should be more aggressive because Pacquiao is not a counter puncher. As long as you're punching at him, you may miss, but you're not going to get hit too often because he's not a counter puncher. But he punches very good when he's moving forward.
They trade body shots. In every clinch, incidentally, Pacquiao has been speaking in Barrera's ear. Marco, to our sights, hasn't said anything in return yet. Straight left hand for Pacquiao lands again. That's the good plan for getting away of the straight left, but you got to throw something.
That's right. He's not doing it. He's not making him pay for it. He's still fighting a little too tentative.
Pacquiao's punch is longer and stronger. Barrera blocking with his gloves there. But blocking won't win.
Trying to make sure he doesn't make a mistake more than trying to make sure that he makes Pacquiao make mistakes.
No.
It could be a part of Barrera's thought process that Pacquiao will be short on stamina and that he could overhaul him in the late rounds. That doesn't seem likely for the older fighter against the younger guy.
No.
And if stealing rounds is an option by flurrying down the stretch, Barrera isn't doing that either.
No, he's not doing anything. He's fighting a mildly conservative tactical fight.
And we return live to the Sears Center in Hoffman, Illinois. So glad you could join us for HBO's Boxing After Dark. Juan Diaz and Julio Diaz in a lightweight unification bout coming up tonight live here on HBO's Boxing After Dark. A short time ago, Larry Merchant had a chance to catch up with Julio Diaz.
Julio, you seemed a little bugged because Juan is a college student and gets a lot of attention because of that. Is that an incentive for you in some way?
Well, yeah, when I walk into a fight like this, I want people to also give me some respect and talk about me, but everybody's just talking about college and stuff, So it makes me want to go back to school.
How are you going to take him to school in this fight?
We worked very hard in the gym. We did everything we had to do, and I'm just going to be myself and show my talents. I think he's the right opponent to do it. He's an undefeated fighter, and hopefully I get the credit that I deserve if all goes well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, Juan Diaz with a unique way of warming up, taking some swings. Diaz has 16 knockouts in 32 fights. He's not a home run hitter, but he hits a lot of doubles. And he hopes to score tonight against Julio Diaz as we return you to Pacquiao Barrera 2.
Jinky Pacquiao, wife of Manny, very public in the last couple of years. It's impossible to be connected to Manny and not be public, particularly in the Philippines.
It nullifies his right hand. He can't do nothing if he keep doing that, okay? Tell him, boys.
Pag nauna kang umikot doon, pag umikot siya, hindi na siya makagalaw sa'yo. Okay? Naunahan mo. Tapos yung jab mo, una lagi jab. Straight, kanan, hook. Galaw ulo. Okay, inhale. Lalim. Okay. Maintain ang galaw. Yun pa rin, okay? Una lang siya.
CompuBox numbers in round 4, it's a wash. Pacquiao out of 63 punches, landed 26. Barrera 5 out of 30. Marco Antonio Barrera just not giving himself a chance to be in the fight so far. Absence of aggression, absence of passion, absence of combination punching.
Showing signs of that beating 4 years ago.
The Pacquiao's not really landing that much neither, but it just his body rhythm, as you can see, he looks like more confident, and he has so much more aggression in him.
Stop. He's fighting.
He's fighting.
I wonder if Barrera is going to be satisfied for this to be his last fight.
Stop. Good left hook to the body by Barrera, and suddenly he puts a flurry of punches together, giving Pacquiao a chance to come back with a hard 1-2.
Most of the left hands that I see Pacquiao land are off balance, Emmanuel.
Yes.
He hasn't had a chance to throw a real power punch on him.
Stop.
Which I guess is the point from Barrera's side of the match.
Yes, Barrera's got the right strategy. Just like I say, there's a little bit more spirit to it. I think he would win this fight, but I just don't know. He's fighting a good fight still, considering everything.
Well, given the nature of his career and the glory of his image, more and more you begin thinking if it's not going to be competitive, it would be better to see him go out on his shield. Hard right hand by Pacquiao. And Barrera decides to fight back immediately. And now suddenly they trade, and Marco catches Pacquiao with a big right hand and a left hand. And Pacquiao momentarily stunned and comes back with the aggression of his own. And that's what the crowd has been waiting for.
But you see who still is the one that's coming with the snarl on his face is still Pacquiao.
And still bouncing and still up on his feet.
Yeah, but Barrera had the better of the exchange, I thought.
He had the better of the exchange.
Well,
sure.
you don't win an exchange with a smile, Emmanuel.
No, but the only thing I'm looking after that, he should have come back right back, because Pacquiao is not too dangerous if he keeps him going back. Good right hand there again.
Filipino crowd trying to get Pacquiao going. Manny. They trade shots again in the center of the ring. Hard left hands, two of them by Pacquiao. Barrera comes back with a straight right. More and more it appears Barrera's going to have to accept the danger and give it a shot. He gets strafed by a right hook. That's the punch that Pacquiao has so improved with. Big left hand by Manny. 10 seconds to go in the round. Too much noise for either fighter to have heard the clapboard. Barrera goes back to fighting again. And maybe Marco won a round.
Come on, Wade. Let's Wade. We're in the long haul. Wade, don't exchange punches now. Come on, we've got to keep working the jab. Work the jab. Move your body. Bend your waist. Come on, not yet, Marco. Not yet, Marco. Relax, not yet. Relax. That's what he wants, to exchange punches with you. We're not going to do that. Relax. Relax. You're better.
Here you see Pacquiao coming in with a left and a follow-up right, off balance, but nevertheless he's so aggressive that Barrera couldn't take advantage of it. And here you see Barrera coming back with a series of punches with Pacquiao on the ropes where he cannot fight too good.
Let's go, Ed. CompuBox numbers in the fifth, still the edge for the more active Pacquiao. 31 out of 71. 19 out of 54 for Barrera. Pacquiao 27 out of 46 power shots. Both boxers in beautiful red trunks. Gloriously colorful scene in the ring. Let's see how both corners have responded to the firefight that took place in round 5, as the fight suddenly dramatically changed.
Well, Barrera's corner, his brother, doesn't want him doing that, even though it appeared that he had the better of it.
He told him, no, don't do it. Save it for the later rounds. Leading me again to wonder whether they think that Pacquiao's going to run out of stamina. Hasn't happened before.
No, Pacquiao is dangerous all the way through. He has tremendous energy.
After all, he knocked Barrera out in the 11th in San Antonio.
After throwing a lot of punches.
Body shots by Manny Pacquiao. Barrera trying to pick his spots upstairs. Gets rocked with a right hand. Gets backed into a corner. Gets caught with another combination. Gets rocked with body shots. Pacquiao all over Barrera when he gets him into that corner.
Pacquiao is showing respect for Barrera. As he put it, Barrera is still Barrera. He's not going to just be completely reckless going after him.
Good hard body shot by Barrera. Pacquiao straightens up and looks for another opportunity. Jab and a right hand for Barrera, seeming to focus his right hand on the body for the moment. May need to make up a small deficit in body shots as...
That's aggressive, beautiful. But you notice every time the Pacquiao gets hit, he explodes. It just like ignites him.
Well, that's the way fighters are.
Yep.
This is what's made Manny Pacquiao the most explosive and exciting fighter in boxing. Lands a solid right hook. Lands a straight left hand. Faster hands carrying the day again. Barrera had a little flurry. Pacquiao came on with an onslaught.
Right away, as soon as he gets hit, he comes back right away. He doesn't wait and come back. He does it instinctively.
Hinga malalim, Brad. Hinga malalim. Okay. Okay. Okay.
7th round coming up.
Nice deep breath.
November 3, we travel to Cardiff, Wales, where a crowd of nearly 60,000 is expected to be in attendance for the 168-pound summit match between hometown hero Joe Calzaghe and Denmark's Mikkel Kessler. Immediately following Calzaghe-Kessler, stay tuned for the premiere of Countdown to Kodo Mosley, a behind-the-scenes look at both fighters as they prepare for their November 10 showdown.
Jab, use the jab, use the jab. Come on. He's got nothing. Work him and use your jab, fake him, use your jab, fake him a lot.
Here you see Barrera catch Pacquiao coming in with a beautiful counter right hand. And there you see both of the guys exchanging punches right here.
CompuBox numbers in round 6. Pacquiao 23 out of 62. Barrera 13 out of 55. Pacquiao 19 out of 37 power shots. Halfway through, Pacquiao has landed exactly twice as many punches as Marco Antonio Barrera. Harold, how do you have it through 6?
Look at you. 5 rounds to 1. 59, 55, Manny Pacquiao. I gotta say this, Jim. You know what I love about Manny Pacquiao? He hits you with that left hand, and like all great fighters, the next thing he does is he steps to the side so he doesn't get hit with a counter shot. Barrera can't do that. He's too old. Watch Pacquiao whack him with a right hand, hit him with a left, and then move out of Barrera's way. You know, when Marco comes back with that counter. Beautiful, beautiful work by Manny Pacquiao. 5-1, Pacquiao.
I have it 3 rounds to 2 with 1 even for Pacquiao.
So those are 2 entirely different views of the fight. Harold Letterman has Manny Pacquiao 4 points ahead, and Larry Merchant has Manny Pacquiao 1 point ahead. First minute of the 7th round has been another tactical exercise.
Yeah, how do you defuse a bomb? Very, very carefully, which is how Barrera is trying to do it.
Well said. There are big screens in the arena which show our video replays between rounds. And I was fascinated during the last between-round period to see all 3 judges looking up at the big screens and carefully watching the replays.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult. It's not an easy fight to judge, really.
Watch your head.
The only thing is when Barrera punches, he doesn't have the power or the confidence in his punches that he's had in the past.
And he's not throwing or landing as many.
No, he's not throwing as many. And every time that he does land a clean blow, it just ignites Pacquiao, and Pacquiao comes right back and gets right back in the fight right away.
I'll tell you who's nervous about this fight. It's all those fighters who bet Pacquiao to knock Barrera, all those bettors who bet Pacquiao to knock Barrera out again.
Some of them have already gone by the wayside because some of them would have been betting for him to do it in the first 3 or 6 rounds. That hasn't happened. Pacquiao does look momentarily content to carve out a round after round decision and wait for an opportunity against a fighter who may be too smart to give it to him if he's just fighting to survive. If Barrera thinks there's sufficient honor in just going 12 rounds in his last fight with a slugger like Manny Pacquiao, those knockout bettors may be out of luck.
And that's what he looks like he's trying to do. He's trying to box, play it safe, not take too many risks.
You know, after Junior Jones knocked Barrera out, Barrera boxed him in the next fight and lost the decision. And this resembles that strategy.
Hi. Coming up. Hey.
Here. Deep breath.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay.
Okay. Manny.
Brad.
Deep breath.
Keep that. Keep that.
Jump, jump.
Keep that.
Come on. Build up confidence. Come on. You're winning it. Come on, but you've got to throw more. Be stronger, throw more, be stronger, be more intense.
Is Marco Antonio Barrera going to go out with a bang or a whimper?
Round 8 begins. Barrera's brother in the corner continuing to try to prop his fighter up with the suggestion that he's winning the fight. That seems to be a stretch. Pacquiao having to reach to find Barrera, who's very conscious of creating distance. Barrera sneaks a right hand around Pacquiao's guard, takes a hard right hand in return for his trouble. Pacquiao's fast-handed combinations, gradually creating more and more space between his connect numbers and those of Barrera.
Barrera has certainly neutralized the power of Pacquiao, but he has not been able to take advantage of that.
Because he can't deal with the speed. Manny's simply too fast and too able to get off punches and flurries. There's a good counter shot combination by Barrera.
And what I've noticed, so Pacquiao has been more effective with his right hand than he has in the past. He's been pretty good with that right jab that he shoots. And he throws his left hand, he'll come back with a straight right after that every time.
Stop.
Well, one thing about Eric Morales that surely all Morales fans are thinking right now. He was outgunned by Manny Pacquiao, but he went in and fought him tooth and nail.
Yes, he did.
He made every round a gunfight.
This is the fight, really. Barrera of about a year ago, I think, would win.
If he still thinks he's that fighter of a year ago.
But maybe the fighter that even just lost a close decision to Marquez, even just said recently. Seemed like it was a lot more speed and snap there when he fought Marquez.
Marquez wasn't as dangerous. Pacquiao is still being treated with great respect by a fighter who knows where to place it. Hard left hand by Pacquiao. Barrera's had a couple of good combination flurries in this round. Otherwise is content to keep it tactical. Hard left hand by Pacquiao knocks Barrera back. Marco may feel a need to answer that. It's a mark of Pacquiao's great speed that he can bull rush you and still land the punches because he gets them off in such a hurry.
He punches and gets out of balance and still keeps punching, so he has so much on the defense that you can't take advantage of his mistakes.
Now Barrera takes advantage of a little mistake there and manages to get in a combination. But those moments have been few and far between for Marco Antonio. And the rounds are running out. So we've finished 8 of a scheduled 12 without Barrera making any significant breakthrough against Pacquiao's technique.
On a crisp autumn evening, and one of the many landmarks in Chicago, the Navy Pier. We're located at Hoffman Estates, about 30 miles northwest, for tonight's main event on HBO's Boxing After Dark. Juan Diaz and Julio Diaz square off in a lightweight unification showdown. A short time ago, Larry Merchant ventured into the locker room of the Baby Bull, Juan Diaz.
Juan, you said that for the first time you're in a fight that's personal. Why?
Well, you know, this is a fight where Julio has been calling me out a lot, and he's been asking for this fight. And I believe that that he finally, well, I know that he finally got his chance. And, you know, some of the comments I didn't really like. So, and throughout my career, not a lot of guys have called me out because I'm not the type of guy to do a lot of trash talking. But so, you know, it kind of sparked a little fire in me.
Do you need fire the way you fight?
Well, I mean, you know, it might be good for the fans. You know, I mean, it'll create a little bit more excitement, and plus, I think that you know, it helped me out when I was in the gym and I felt a little tired. I said, you know, I will remember those words just coming to my ear, and I just keep punching the bag even harder.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, Julio Diaz will put the words aside and use those hands. He's got his game face on as he gets set. Final preparations for tonight's main event here at the Hoffman Estates in Illinois. Juan Diaz and Julio Diaz squaring off in a 12-round lightweight unification showdown. Julio Diaz 34-3 with 25 knockouts. Juan Diaz 32-0 with 16 knockouts. But now back to Pacquiao Barrera 2.
Come on. When you throw 4, you hit him 4 completely, solidly. He's got nothing. Come on. More jab, more contact. Come on, he's tired already. He's tired. All you have to do is press a little bit more.
Labas ha, sa labas. Kasi mas mabilis ka eh.
You gave that round away, Manny. Come on now, we gotta pick it up.
Okay, Brad, Leo, ha?
All right.
Itong hata bitoni mo, hata mo, duluwang hata mo, tapos mag-jab niya, takbo! Bulos na bangan.
You take his, when you move your right, you take his right hand away from him, he can't hit.
In that round, and you said it would be interesting to hear the CompuBox numbers, Emmanuel, Barrera was 15 out of 55, Pacquiao was 26 out of 54. So there was a significant edge for Pacquiao in landed punches. Nevertheless, Freddie Roach said to Manny, you gave that round away. Average CompuBox numbers per round through 8. Pacquiao 18 out of 49, Barrera 9 out of 40. Marco Antonio Barrera not aggressive enough to really be in the fight, or so it would appear, against Manny Pacquiao so far.
Well, you know, going into this fight, Barrera announcing that this is his last hurrah, I thought, well, what if it's a great fight? What if he beats Pacquiao in an action-packed fight and they're dangling big money for him? Well, even if he eked out a victory here, there would never be a third fight. This may indeed be Barrera's last hurrah.
And I think it's bad to announce this your last fight, because if a fight is even close, why give the decision to a guy who's going to be quitting boxing as compared to somebody who's going to remain in boxing? So it, to me, would kind of prejudice the officials against you also. Make that announcement after you retire, after the fight.
It's about 80 pounds south of there and a different kind of style matchup. But this reminds me a little bit of Larry Holmes against Michael Spinks in his last 2 fights as heavyweight champion. Unable or unwilling to pull the trigger, regardless of what opening might be there. Pacquiao, on the other hand, sometimes seems to be lulled to sleep by Barrera. Then he comes back with something like that.
Stop.
Hard contact with the left hand by Manny Pacquiao drove Barrera into the ropes.
Well, Barrera said he had a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C. I'm looking for plan D here, which is just to attack and take his chance.
Well, I like your analogy about diffusing a bomb, Larry. You know, he's trying to very carefully diffuse a bomb, but he's running out of time to get it done. It looks just like a tedious enterprise. There. He needs a lot more of that. Left hand landed big for Manny Pacquiao.
Pacquiao's got great balance when he starts moving on his toes. That's what I like. He can move and bounce and punch from all those weird angles while he's punching and then bouncing at the same time.
Okay. 2 combinations.
Arms down, baby. Arms down, baby.
Now you feint him, he's reaching. Look for the hook right hand, okay? Manny, you've got to finish. Now stop pulling up. Here, you've got to finish your combinations.
Come on, press, be powerful. Come on, this is the last one. This is the last one for your family. This is intense. Come on, show your conditioning. He hasn't hurt you at all.
Well, now Barrera is getting the right push from his corner. They're telling him he has to go out and fight.
Well, it was all emotional, though. I heard nothing tactical in the way of a suggestion that he should step forward and trade punches. It was all about honor for your family and stuff like that. Harold, how do you have it coming to the 10th?
89-82, 8 rounds to 1, Manny Pacquiao. Jim, I got to tell you, there's nothing different about the way Manny Pacquiao's fighting now than he did when the fight first started. He flips out that right jab or a right hook, comes across with that straight hard left hand. Barrera keeps backing up, occasionally stops, and throws a combination. But Pacquiao is doing all the damage. Manny Pacquiao, based on mostly clean punching, just like you saw there.
I have it 6 rounds to 2 with 1 even for Pacquiao.
One thing Barrera has accomplished is to put a very raucous, extremely involved crowd more or less to sleep in round 10 of a scheduled 12. It's probably not what he had in mind.
Stop, out. Mate, ¿qué pasa?
In his next life, beginning after this, one of the things Barrera promises to do is to go to broadcasting school to become a professional boxing commentator.
He's a very intelligent man.
Brilliant.
He's a very, very smart man.
And if he goes through all that, he'll someday face the hard job of having to criticize someone he genuinely admires for the way that he's fighting.
You know, and I think he says he's managing fighters in Mexico now, about 20-some fighters he's got.
Let's hope he manages them to fight more entertainingly than this. Let's hope if he ever has to talk about a great fighter who's fighting this way, he'll say the truth. It's not pretty.
He'll say, watch me when I was young, not when I was old.
Stop.
Another rare moment from Barrera, but one combination and then moving away. He's gone from one punch at a time in the early rounds, as Harold accurately described, to one combination at a time and then creating a lot of lull space.
Stop. Come on. Keep it clean.
Got Pacquiao fighting at the pace he wanted him to, just can't do anything about it.
He's done a bit of a job of controlling the fight and the tempo of the fight exactly where he wants it to be. But just a little bit more fire, a little bit more power.
So the brain matter is willing, but the flesh is weak for Marco Antonio Barrera.
How are you feeling? How are you feeling? Come on, you got to throw more. Throw more, Marco. Come on, Marco, there's no more. Come on, we've got to press. We've got to press. They can't rob us. We've got to press.
November 18 kicks off Mayweather-Hatton 24/7. Our total access 4-week series following both fighters as they prepare for their December showdown. And Saturday, December 8th on HBO pay-per-view. It's the live fight. Floyd Mayweather against Ricky Hatton for Mayweather's welterweight title.
Una ka permisa iya. Suma. Sure pansis nimo na dito. Ingato nga pick, ha buhaton nimo ha. Okay. Ay kung sa duwa na lang ni crowd.
We should remember as we go to the 11th, judges are not blessed with CompuBox numbers, or if you choose, confused by CompuBox numbers. And they don't have video monitors which show them everything in perfect, clear detail, as is sometimes the case here. And 2 of these 3 judges are less experienced than might normally be the case for a fight of this magnitude.
That's right. You know, but Barrera's got the fight at the exact tempo he wanted it, everything, but still, Pacquiao is still setting the tempo as far as aggressiveness. And going down the stretch, it looks like Pacquiao's going to try to be busier. And he can do that pretty good because he's got fast legs. He's in and out.
Well, Freddie Roach, you can almost hear Freddie worrying that something unusual could conceivably be going on. Yes, he says, Manny, this fight's too close.
But this is a type of a fight that could be given to Barrera by some worse decisions, and it wouldn't be a fight that you could argue about too much.
Okay, stop.
For the most part, it's been tit for tat.
You can't give the fight to the fighter who's just trying to lower the temperature.
You shouldn't, but it happens.
It certainly does from time to time. We've seen judges do that. There was a judge who had Corey Spinks beating Jermaine Barrera in Memphis. And what Spinks wanted to do is lower the temperature. Now momentarily they fight again, and Barrera gives as good as he gets in that exchange. Makes you wonder what might have happened if he'd done it all night. Probably the inevitable.
But the energy and the strength is still looks so much with Pacquiao, even though I think Barrera's maybe matching him punch for punch, maybe even beating him. But it just, Pacquiao looks so strong, so much energetic. And sometimes that impresses judges, but who knows? We saw the fight with Forbes and Mahara. The judges went for the older fighter with the more precision punches.
Now Pacquiao begins to do damage, and Barrera's got no choice but to try to rise. Yeah. And he staggers off of the left hand by Pacquiao. And he comes back with a right to the body. Big-time headbutt by Barrera. And Marco comes to the corner with blood.
No, Marco, I think he hit Pacquiao. I think on the break after the getting butted, I think.
Pacquiao looks dazed, like he's
I think he was hit.
Like he's reeling around the ring after getting a big punch.
Barrera has blood all over his chest and his right cheek.
1 point over here. 1 point.
1 point deduction for Barrera. It's hitting on the break, and that's the deduction by Tony Weeks. We'll be able to show it to you in replay between rounds.
There's always been that mean streak in Barrera that occasionally would break out in frustration.
But knowing that he's got that point taken away and his man is temporarily dazed, supposedly, he should have came out and tried to be a little bit more aggressive in terms of power punching.
Just not programmed to do it tonight. Just not programmed to go after him and fight tonight. That would have been the moment if ever it existed. Instead, he backed off. Still showing total respect for Manny Pacquiao's speed and power, and why not? Pacquiao strafed him in San Antonio 4 years ago.
Don't move him. Don't move him. How are you feeling? Come on, he's tired. He's very tired. It's the last one. Throw with everything. Come on, it's the last one. Kill him. Kill him.
Working beautiful. Double jab, left hand.
Okay. Ang ganda na ginawa mo, okay? Dalawa ang jab.
Emmanuel, let's take a look at what happened here. And ultimately led to a 1-point penalty for Marco Antonio Barrera.
Right here, you see Barrera hit him with a tremendous right-hand punch. And just as the referee was breaking him, it's on a break, and the referee felt that he did it on purpose.
According to our videotape, we're now thinking that a punch caused the cut on his cheek.
Once upon a time, we would see Barrera box for half of a fight. If it wasn't working, he'd tear after Morales. He just has been unable to do that to Pacquiao.
Filipino crowd chanting for their man, hoping for a dramatic last-round knockout. Let's see if Barrera has anything on his mind other than surviving the 12 rounds.
Even though I feel that Pacquiao's won the fight, if I was a fan, I could easily be worried and concerned about a decision, because Pacquiao's never had a sustained attack where he really had him hurt at all in his fight, unlike most of his fights. So I could see a cause for worry from some of the people that support him and from his corner.
Harold Letterman's going to wind up giving 11 of 12 rounds to Pacquiao in all probability. Seems unlikely.
No, he's won the fight, I think, but just compared to the way he's normally won his fights, it's been much more convincing than this usually, aside from the Marquez fight.
Well, is that enough to satisfy Marco Antonio Barrera? And how disappointing if that's the case. Now the old warrior looks for another chance. Quickly gives his gloves to Tony Weeks as if to say, let me at it. Admirable aggression with a minute to go. Marco Antonio Barrera had to wait 4 years for his chance at revenge against Manny Pacquiao. Part of the wait was occasioned by a Cold War between two major promoters in the sport. Cold War that was brought to a close just a few months ago. So item one at the end of the Cold War was to give Barrera his chance at revenge. But apparently it came too late for him to really be able to deliver the goods against the most violent and explosive fighter in the lower weight classes, Manny Pacquiao.
We didn't get a hot war climax, we got a Cold War climax.
Looks as though they're going to finish it out, trading punches tactically in the center of the ring. No chance for the stylish knockout that Pacquiao's fans wanted. No chance for the tactical triumph that Barrera's fans might have envisioned.
A whimper, not a bang.
Michael Buffer stands by with the official scores.
After 12 rounds, we go to the scorecards. Jerry Roth and Glenn Trowbridge, 118-109. Tom Schreck, 115-112. To the winner by unanimous decision, still champion from the Philippines, Manny
So Manny Pacquiao prevails by unanimous decision last week in Las Vegas in what was the ring farewell of Marco Antonio Barrera, who announced his retirement in the post-fight press conference. Still to come tonight, the baby bull, Juan Diaz, holder of 2 lightweight championship belts and one of the sport's most relentless volume punchers, looks to raise his profile in yet another 135-pound title against this man, Julio Diaz, who recently claimed the title belt for the 2nd time in his young career with a win last February against Jesus Chavez. And I'm joined here at ringside by Larry Merchant, who was ringside last week. Larry, Pacquiao and Barrera have provided us with so many thrills, but the rematch seemed anticlimactic. What happened and what happens next?
Even when you match drama kings, you can't be guaranteed of drama. This was just a case of a great old champion, Barrera, moving into the ring for the last time and finding that his fire had burned out. Pacquiao had something to do with that, of course, and now he's contemplating a step up into the Diaz division, which used to be called the lightweight division. 3 of the lightweight titles will be contested by 2 of the Diazes tonight. Pacquiao has his eye on the 3rd Diaz with the 4th title. That's David Diaz of Chicago. And if he was in the ring tonight, Bob, we might have a crowd instead of a gathering.
We are some 35 miles northwest of downtown Chicago in Hoffman Estates, Illinois, but it does shape up to be a fantastic fight. And speaking of fantastic, The close to the 2007 boxing calendar is a special one. Let's take a look at HBO's boxing calendar. On November the 3rd, World Championship Boxing returns with a 168-pound unification fight between undefeated champions Joe Calzaghe and Miguel Kessler. That fight will air live from Cardiff, Wales at a special time of 9 p.m. Eastern. Immediately following Calzaghe, Kessler stick around for Countdown to Cotto Mosley, a documentary-style look ahead to their upcoming 147-pound title fight. Then 1 week later, it's the live fight between Miguel Cotto and Shane Mosley, with Cotto's welterweight title at stake. On November the 17th, Boxing After Dark brings you a great matchup from the junior lightweight division when Johan Guzman risks his title against Humberto Soto. On November the 18th, it's the premiere of our special 4-episode series, Mayweather-Hatton 24/7. We'll take our cameras to Las Vegas and Manchester, England, for a behind-the-scenes peek at both Floyd Mayweather and Ricky Hatton as they ready themselves for their upcoming mega matchup. Then on December the 8th, HBO pay-per-view brings you the live fight between Mayweather and Hatton, with the welterweight championship of the world at stake. Coming up after our main event this evening, Juan Diaz against Julio Diaz, with Marco Antonio Barrera's loss last week and him announcing his retirement, and with Eric Morales losing earlier this summer to David Diaz and his impending retirement. It really is the end of an era. Larry Merchant will take a closer look at that era and both men, Eric Morales and Marco Antonio Barrera. And speaking of eras, two of the greatest fighters of their era will duke it out in the ring at Madison Square Garden on January the 19th on HBO pay-per-view as Roy Jones Jr. squares off against Felix Tito Trinidad. Both fighters are standing by with Larry Merchant.
Thank you, Bob. Roy, what made it so difficult, after all, to retire?
I should say God. I mean, you know, it's like you retire when your time comes. When you know your time coming, that's when you retire.
Why didn't your time come, and what do you expect to accomplish now?
My time didn't come because my ending didn't go out the way he wanted to go out. So he showed me that. He showed me what he wanted me to do, and I got to come back and do what it is I'm supposed to do. I have a job that only I know, and I got to fulfill that dream and do that job.
Do you see this as a gateway to fighting so many of the top fighters in the 168-pound and light heavyweight class today?
This is a gateway, but I'm not going to fight many of them. I'm going to do 1 or 2 at a time. I mean, I do 1, maybe 3 next year, and I'm done.
Thank you, Roy. Tito, nice to see you again. Tito, you won all of your fights as a welterweight and a junior middleweight. But as a middleweight, you lost 2 fights decisively to Hopkins and Wright. Why can you step up to 170 pounds against Roy Jones and be successful?
¿Cómo puedes subir hasta el peso de Troy Jones y tratar de vencerlo?
Bueno, yo voy a estar preparado para ese día. Roy Jones es un gran peleador.
I'm going to be prepared. Troy Jones is a great boxer.
Pero yo voy a estar preparado para ganar el día 19 de enero.
But I'll be ready to win the 19th.
Do you think that he is vulnerable to your power?
¿Crees que es vulnerable a tu poder o a tu potencia?
No, de verdad que sé que va a ser un gran combate, pero en realidad
It's going to be a great fight, but
vengo preparado para vencer a Roy Jones como quiera.
I'm prepared to fight him and beat him either way.
Aunque sé que él es un boxeador muy rápido, un boxeador rápido en el ring, pero yo estoy preparado para eso.
I know he's a fast boxer in the ring, but I'm well prepared, and I will beat him.
Thank you, Tito, very much. Bob?
All right, Larry, so January the 19th, Madison Square Garden, New York City, Felix Trinidad against Roy Jones Jr. on HBO pay-per-view. Now we turn our focus to tonight's main event, Juan Diaz against Julio Diaz, with a lightweight unification on tap. Joining me here at ringside, former undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, Lennox Lewis. Juan Diaz, he's 24 years of age. He's unbeaten. He's a puncher with a lot of pressure. Can Julio Diaz burst his balloon?
I don't know about that because he's definitely got a power punch as well, but he's also got quickness and he's prepared to move around the ring. He's not prepared to sit in one place, and he wants to box out there. But what you're gonna see is a lot of fireworks in there and a lot of punches, so it should be an exciting fight.
All right, we are set for our main event, Juan Diaz against Julio Diaz. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape for Diaz versus Diaz. Juan Diaz at 24 years of age. The height advantage goes to Julio Diaz. The arm length from the armpit to the fist in favor of Julio Diaz. Both fighters made the 135-pound weight limit comfortably. Julio Diaz rehydrated to 144 pounds, Juan Diaz to 142. Now time for the rules with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
Association of Boxing Commissions. There is no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight. In case of is caused by an accidental headbutt, we go to the scorecards if the 4 rounds have been completed, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the 12th and final round. Bob!
First to enter the arena, Julio Diaz. He's 27 years of age from Coachella, California. Larry, he turned pro at the age of 19. It has not been a path paved with gold.
Well, he was the kid brother of 3 professional fighters. His older brother, Antonio, fought Shane Mosley. He was a young star at the age of 21, had a couple of setbacks, and has had to fight his way back to this position. And despite the fact that he has 3 children, he still can't shave. He can raise a beard, but he doesn't have to shave on his cheeks. So he's still a young man for somebody who's been around a while.
Turned pro in February of 1999, 197 rounds as a professional. Won the championship back in February, has not fought since February the 3rd when he knocked out Jesus Chavez, who was injured in that fight with a right knee injury, and that's where he got his lightweight belt.
You'll notice that he spells kid with 2 D's on his trunks and on his robe. Once upon a time, there were dozens of fighters called Kid, but I don't know any of them that were Kid with 2 D's.
He said it looked better on his trunks, and that's why he put the extra D in Kid. We're at the Sears Center in Hoffman Estates, Illinois. And here comes the baby bull, El Torito, Juan Diaz, 32-0 with 16 knockouts by way of Houston, Texas, making his 7th title defense. And Larry, when you take a look at Juan Diaz, some intrigue for this young fighter because his regular trainer is not with him, Ronnie Shields.
Yeah, Ronnie Shields elected to go with Evander Holyfield for a heavyweight title challenge in Russia, which actually took place this afternoon, our time. And if you haven't heard yet, Holyfield lost a unanimous decision. Where that puts him in the future of Diaz is uncertain, but his assistant, who has been with Diaz for 15 years, will be in the corner.
Derwin Richards is the man that assumes the control in the corner of Juan Diaz. Juan Diaz last fought on April the 28th here on HBO's Boxing After Dark, an 8th round stoppage of Acelino Freitas to take Freitas's lightweight belt. Time for the introductions with our ring announcer, Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the greater metropolitan area of Chicago, welcome to the Sears Center here in Hoffman Estates, Illinois, where tonight Don King Productions is proud to present HBO Boxing After Dark. This is the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing for the lightweight championship of the world. Sponsored by Don King Productions, Tito Trinidad versus Roy Jones Jr., Battle of Boxing Legends, live on HBO pay-per-view, January 19th. Sanctioned by the World Boxing Organization President Francisco Pago Barcarcel, the World Boxing Association President Gilberto Mendoza, and the International Boxing Federation President Marian Mohammed. Sanctioned by and governed by the rules and regulations of the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulation. Director of Boxing, Ron Puccillo. Executive Manager, Joel Campuzano. At ringside, the 3 judges scoring this bout on the 10-point system. Ted Gimza, Bill Lurch, and Nelson Vasquez. And inside the ring, your referee in charge of the action, Gino Rodriguez. And now, for the thousands in attendance here at the Sears Center and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Fighting out of the blue corner, wearing green, trimmed with white, official weight, 135 pounds. Professional record, 34 victories, including 25 knockouts, only 3 defeats. From Coachella, California, the reigning and defending IBF lightweight champion of the world, Julio, the Kid Diaz. And fighting out of the red corner, wearing blue, official weight also 135 pounds. A perfect professional record consisting of 32 bouts, 32 victories, including 16 knockouts. From Houston, Texas, the reigning and defending undefeated WBA, WBO lightweight champion of the world, Juan, the baby bull Diaz.
We're ready here.
You got your hands full tonight.
You got it. You got it.
But they're in good hands, though. They're in good hands.
Go, Juan, Julio. Okay, gentlemen, listen up. You got your instructions in the dressing room, all right? I want you to obey my commands at all times, protect yourself at all times. Now, touch them up and come out fighting.
In my fantasy, we'd have the 3 Diazes fighting for the 4 belts in a round robin. But 2 Diazes promised just about all the brawling that we could stand.
Juan Diaz and Julio Diaz set for tonight's main event. Lennox, what should we be looking for early in this fight?
Well, you know, I'm going to look at Juan Diaz is definitely going to come after the other Diaz and really test his heart. But I know Julio's prepared to move around and use his jab.
Juan Diaz in the blue, Julio Diaz in the green. Juan Diaz likes to keep a very busy pace.
Usually that's a pace that other fighters are so unused to that it becomes a tremendous disadvantage for them. But in the early rounds, especially, Juan Diaz can be vulnerable.
Right hand over the top by Juan Diaz. Lennox, we talked extensively with Julio Diaz about his boxing ability. He feels comfortable going backward.
And that's what he's doing. He did say that that's what he's going to do in this fight, and he's doing it. And he's not getting hit with any silly punches right now, only when he stands still. But, you know, the kind of pressure Juan gives you, he makes you want to stop and fight him. So that's why I believe there's going to be a lot of fireworks, a lot of punches thrown in this fight.
Juan Diaz in the blue told us that, you know, he's been working on his technique more, but as the fight wears on, his inner Mexican kicks in.
And that's what happens to some young boxers. They don't have a little discipline, and he's working on the discipline of taking his time and using some poison there. Good combination by Juan, and pick his shots.
He is unusual for a pressure fighter in the sense that he is not a power puncher. Most pressure fighters, to be successful, have to put hurt on their opponents immediately. He is a quick-handed puncher who tries to break you down through attrition.
Well, we saw him during the Pacquiao Barrera rebroadcast as he was warming up, swinging a baseball bat. And he's one of those doubles hitters. He's not a home run hitter.
See, already Diaz is doing more fighting than he anticipated he would have to.
Julio Diaz in the green.
Did I say just Diaz?
Larry, you could just say Juan and Julio.
I usually don't like to be that familiar with the fighters on the air, but we may be forced to here. A little abrasion alongside the right eye of Julio Diaz. But he's holding his own in this round. A good, brisk, tough round.
There's the bell to end round number 1. Good pace in the first round.
Listen, Juan. Listen. I need more jabs, okay? You're walking in. Water. I need more jabs, okay? You're walking in. Okay? Now, your head moves good. Got a good right hand. Now, I need more.
Abro para las cuerdas, ¿eh? Y nomás estás usando como cuando él le hace pa, 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 pa.
Well, he
Y
goes
luego
bam,
usted,
bam, bam.
¿ok? Y luego usted sígale,
Go back.
¿ok?
Then hit
Come
him.
on. No está usando ese paso para atrás. No
You're
te
not
estás
using
moviendo
that one
tampoco.
step back.
Te estás quedando como...
You're
dijimos
staying
que no
there.
fue un round, pero no estás apuchando. Tiene que quedar y vamos, cabrón. Ven.
And here we see a good combination by Juan Diaz. Good array of punches.
Let's go.
3 of them hitting Julio.
Julio says that other fighters have panicked against Diaz, and there's some truth to that. And that he believes he won't because of his experience.
You heard his trainer, Lee Espinosa, in his corner, caution him about the fact that you're standing there and you're fighting with it. You're fighting his game plan. Take that step back. Don't just stand there. But Juan Diaz seems to bring all of his opponents into his comfort level.
Well, you know, his trainer told him the right thing to do, because what happens when Juan throws a combination, he accepts it, but he doesn't fire back, and his trainer was telling him to fire back.
And another result of quick hands like this is that the opponent of Juan Diaz becomes a little bit reluctant to punch sometimes because he doesn't know what's coming back at him.
Lennox's Julio making a mistake here, standing in the wheelhouse of Juan Diaz.
Well, he feels that he can out-punch him and out-box him right now, but I think that's the wrong move. He should be using his reach, because he seems like he has longer arms and better movement. So he needs to give Juan Diaz some different angles and capitalize off of them.
Good uppercut.
See, standing in front of Juan Diaz is a mistake, because you know you're standing in front of what I call a good puncher, and any one of those shots can hurt you or cut you. So you don't want to take that type of chance.
Julio Diaz in the green, not using the movement that he said he would.
Well, now he's trying to muscle Juan Diaz because he's the bigger guy, and he thinks it would be to his advantage if he can push him back, but he's going to pay a price for that.
Does switch southpaw, something Julio said he likes to do during the course of a fight.
And Julio's trying something that he's seen work on other boxers. You know, guys that give you that pressure, if you push them back, then they can't stop going backwards. But, you know, you're right, Larry, it's a big sacrifice to do that.
Most of those punches there missing from Juan Diaz. Slaps a left to the head. Nice combination by Juan Diaz. He responds to Julio Diaz.
Julio Diaz is saying he's not taking a step back. He wants to punch it out.
Great action through the first 2 rounds.
Venimos a boxear también poquito. Tienes que boxear.
We're here to box. We're here to box. You know how to move. Remember, you're staying in there. You have to be moving around. Don't stay close.
On November the 3rd, it's a terrific matchup of undefeated 168-pound champions Joe Calzaghe and Miguel Kessler. Calzaghe versus Kessler live from Cardiff, Wales at a special time, 9 p.m. Eastern. Then 1 week later, 147-pound champion Miguel Cotto puts his title on the line against Sugar Shane Mosley. Part of a fantastic fall here on HBO.
Juan Diaz has been celebrated because he is a college student, a senior at University of Houston downtown. He wants to go on to law school. Worked as a lobbyist in Washington this past summer. None of that will help him in the ring, but he seems to do all right.
And Julio Diaz in the green, who was married at the age of 18, is the father of 3, has his own construction company, and is also getting involved in some boxing promotion of his own, Kid Diaz Boxing Promotions. 2 very nice young men.
Incidentally, Juan is doing a good job with the pressure, but he needs to throw more jabs before he comes in.
Having tested his strength against Juan Diaz in the last round, Julio is now finding what's in his best comfort zone, which is to stand back, box, punch him, not to try to bully him. You can't bully the bull.
And Larry, that's no bull.
He is just relentless.
Some of that blocked by Julio Diaz, not all of it. Juan Diaz rips a combination to the head of Julio Diaz.
No, Julio Diaz was doing a good job boxing, but now he's elected to come in, still trying to push back Juan, still not working.
Well, maybe he's decided he can take these punches. They aren't damaging punches, they're just cumulative punches. And so that he feels that maybe he has to do that.
Doesn't it just play into the whole Juan Diaz strategy, though?
Well, it does, but he makes you play into it. He determines what the pace of the fight is.
And Julio said this is the fight that he wanted. He wanted Juan Diaz. And he's been calling for him for a while. And he's got what he wanted.
Well, they're 2 young fighters fighting like the whole future is in front of them. Not like old guys whose future is in the past.
End of the 3rd. Mentioned Juan Diaz would like to become a lawyer. Will graduate with a political science degree next year from the University of Houston downtown. A couple of years ago, Larry, before the Fernando Vargas-Felix Trinidad fight in Nevada, Juan was fighting on a card in Las Vegas the night before, and 3 of his high school teachers from the Contemporary Learning Center, on their own dime, flew out to see Juan Diaz perform. He was so moved by that on his own dime, he has flown those 3 teachers here just outside of Chicago to see him fight in a world title fight.
Stay tight and jump with the jab.
Craig McDaniel, the woodshop teacher, Jack Powell, the computer science teacher, and Tanya Malone, the drug counselor from his high school. Let's take a look at Harold Letterman's scorecard through 3.
Okay, Bob, 3-0.
30-27, Juan Diaz. Bob, I gotta tell you, Julio Diaz is fighting Juan Diaz's fight, and that's all there is to it. In the Angel Manfredi fight, in the Ricky Keelis fight, Julio Diaz moved side to side, just like you saw there. He hasn't moved side to side once in this entire fight. He's standing in the middle of the ring, banging with Juan Diaz, and Juan Diaz is out banging him. I mean, Julio's got to stop moving. And one other thing, Julio Diaz using those elbows illegally. Watch the elbows and the forearms. When Juan gets inside, Julio pushes him off with the forearm. You can't do it. 3-0, Juan Diaz.
And now you see that Julio Diaz has turned southpaw, looking for something that will work against a buzzsaw. And there you see the jabs. Turned southpaw, and he just jabbed right over his front hand, Lennox.
And, you know, I'm an orthodox boxer, and my trainer always said, just learn one style and perfect that style. And there are some boxers out there that can box both ways, but only some that can make it effective.
Once Julio Diaz languishes on the inside, Juan Diaz tags him. Those punches blocked by Juan Diaz.
You see, and one of the things that happens here, Julio Diaz is a pretty good puncher, but he has to shorten his punches up. And so he's not getting his normal power from his punches in order to be able to get to Diaz to Juan Diaz before he gets to him. You see that? They're like almost like arm punches. They're not power punches.
Partly because he's looking to get out of the way while he's throwing the punches. You know, it's always easier going forward throwing punches than going backwards. When you're going backwards throwing punches, it's like you're taking some sting off your own punches.
The other thing Juan Diaz has done through the first 3 rounds is he has paid attention to Julio Diaz's body.
See, what Julio Diaz should be doing, he should be taking that step back and letting Juan Diaz come into his punches and stopping and coming out with his power punches. It's like bringing him into a trap. Take that step back, Juan's gonna come forward, then throw a combination. But that's not what he was doing. That's not what he's doing now. He has done it in the past, but he's, you know, he's doing all kinds of different things now and seeing what can work for him.
End of the 4th round. And there is Juan Diaz's mom, Olivia. Juan still lives with mom and dad, Olivia and Fidencio, who are originally from Mexico. And it's got to be tough watching your son.
Especially the way he fights.
Bought his dad a ranch, tried to buy his mom a car. She said, no thanks, save your money.
Give him water, give him water, give him water, give him water, give him water.
Okay, just relax, son. Get that rhythm. Just relax.
Do you want me to do the score?
And here we see a good array of punches by both boxers, trading punches.
Let's go, check this out. Get that ice out of the way.
Believe it or not, Julio Diaz, according to the CompuBox numbers, has been a hair busier, but Juan Diaz laying at a much better percentage.
I don't recall the last time I've seen a fighter fight like Juan Diaz. There have been a few down through the decades.
Larry, it's pure blue collar, isn't it? Just a hard day's work.
It's a hard day's work, but there's, I mean, you can't coach hand speed. He has hand speed.
Two things you can't coach, hand speed and heart. And he has both of them.
Yeah. And one of the reasons he's able to sustain this pace, he believes, is that he trains in an unusual way. He swims every day. And he believes that they have enabled him to keep punching like that for an hour.
Gives a lot of credit to his conditioning coach, Brian Caldwell. Again, it's Juan Diaz just putting volumes of punches together. Not all of it landing, but
I tell you, it looks good, and it seems like he's in great shape when he does that. And you know, it's a crowd-pleasing style when you throw a combination, and it's like a 6-punch combination.
And
fans love that.
It also will catch the eye of the officials if it's a close round.
The left hand by Julio Diaz, but then Juan comes back with a shot to the body. Nice. Is this where Julio Diaz needs to keep this fight?
Well, Julio needs to do what he's doing, jab a lot, and use his reach, because right now, in close, he's at a disadvantage. I think he should use his reach. So he wants to get Juan Diaz back into the rope so badly, but that's going to take a lot of work, take a lot of energy out of him. Plus, he's getting punched at the same time.
Julio Diaz does good work to the body. Juan Diaz comes back with a flurry of his own. Right hand punctuated that combination.
Julio Diaz been in the gymnasiums with his older brother since he's 6 years old. So he has seen a lot of this, but never in a fight as a professional.
Juan Diaz just threw a brilliant combination at the end of the round.
Ya se cansó el vato, ya se cansó. Pero tienes que hacer algo.
You have to do something. Don't let this guy hit you like crazy. He's pushing you like a woman. When you push him, he move back. And then he push you back. Don't let him do that. Push him. He's tired. You have to use your arms. We cannot be yelling from out here. He's got to come from you.
All I gotta do, stay low behind the jab. I need more jabs. Okay. Stay low behind the jab.
Step with the jab, okay? Got you.
All I gotta do.
The body work is good, okay?
Check it out. Doing good.
All right, take your time.
If you look inside the CompuBox numbers from round 5, it really speaks to what Juan Diaz is all about. He landed 56 of 115, 55 of 109 power shots. There's no jab there. 1 of 6 with it. Forget about the jab. He's going to just fight his fight.
And he's not even breathing. He looks really relaxed and comfortable in there.
He says that school is his real job and boxing is just a pastime. But you don't fight like this if it's something that's a pastime. You've put in the work.
Bob Papa, Larry Merchant, Lennox Lewis from Hoffman Estates, Illinois, just outside of Chicago, the Sears Center. Juan Diaz in the blue, Julio Diaz in the green in a lightweight unification bout. Juan Diaz in the blue has controlled the action with a relentless attack on Julio Diaz.
And Julio seemed kind of frustrated there for a moment, tried to use his head to push Juan Diaz back into the ropes, but the referee warned him.
Gino Rodriguez, our referee.
Juan Diaz does not have the picture-perfect prize fighter's body, and that can deceive opponents. They think he's soft. They think you can push him around. You can't.
As a kid, his dad took him to Willie Savannah's gym. And Willie took a look at the chubby kid and said, this kid won't last 2 weeks. And years later, they're still together. Nice, we've seen a lot of the same here through almost 6 rounds. What can Julio Diaz do to change this tide of Juan Diaz that keeps rolling in?
Well, like I said, he needs to take a step back and allow Juan Diaz to come and step into the pocket, then throw his combination. But right now, what he's allowing Juan to do is throw a combination of punches, which Julio's getting hit with like 3 out of 6 of the combinations. And, you know, it's not looking too good on the judges' cards.
Yeah. Well, and that's the key here, Lennox. This looks like another round for Juan Diaz. If it is, that could put him ahead 6-0, and means he just has to win one of the remaining rounds to win the fight, unless something happens that doesn't look like it can happen.
Juan Diaz has been down a couple times. Eleazar Contreras dropped him back in 2003, got up to win a decision in that fight. Another combination from Juan Diaz, most of it missing. And Julio lands a combination after the bell. There's David Diaz, the other part of this trifecta of lightweight title holders. He hails from Chicago, former U.S. Olympian, who actually moved down in weight since turning pro, and he's another workman-like kid.
He looks like it's a boring fight for him, but I know he's taking good notice of both fighters, and he's looking at his other brother from another mother.
Let him feel your punches. He's just going easy with it. You have to hit him hard. You have to win this fight. I don't know where you're going to get it from, but you have to win this one. You got to win all the rounds. You haven't done any boxing.
Relax. Get on your rhythm. Get your rhythm. You gotta stay tight.
And there's Mom Olivia, Juan Diaz's mom, looking on anxiously as we get set for the start of round number 7. Harold Letterman have it scored through 6.
6 rounds to nothing, 60-54, Juan Diaz. Bob, I gotta tell you, I gotta answer your question as to what Julio Diaz can do. He can start to move side to side, use that entire ring and box. He's a very good boxer. Anybody who's seen him before knows he can box. He hasn't boxed in 6 rounds. His choices are box or lay down or let the referee count to 11. And that's the only 2 things he can do. I mean, he can't fight like this. He's fighting Juan Diaz's fight, and he's getting out punched. 6-0, Juan Diaz.
If he could box him, he would box him, Harold.
Larry, he's fighting like he's got a high ankle sprain or turf toe. I mean, he ain't moving.
No, well, that's because Diaz is right in his chest.
And Lennox, Larry, that's what Juan Diaz brings. He dictates the terms of the fight. He gets people to fight his fight.
See, after Juan Diaz throws his combination, he has to think defense after that, because obviously Julio's going to come back with his punches. He's just waiting for Juan to finish throwing punches, then he wants to come back with his own punches. Still, Julio's trying to push Juan back, but it's still not working.
And it's very noticeable still that Diaz really doesn't get much. Julio Diaz doesn't get a lot of leverage on his punches at close range. Now you see Juan Diaz is jabbing the boxer.
And it's a good jab. It's a good solid jab, and it's fast and crisp.
Swelling under the left eye of Julio Diaz in the green.
So that Juan Diaz can take a little bit of a blow this way if he wants to during a round and just get by on his jab.
According to the CompuBox numbers in this round, Juan Diaz has landed 17 of 28 jabs. That's 61%. That's not even part of his game plan.
He's just a fighter. A real fighter. Not that Julio Diaz isn't. He's a very solid fighter.
Juan Diaz had 110 amateur fights. Turned pro at the age of 16 in Mexico. And he's opening up on Julio Diaz again.
And this kind of a flurry will steal the round if it's close.
Juan did a good thing. While he was throwing that combination, he was moving around in the circle, not standing in one spot, which is important.
On November the 18th, tune in for the premiere of our special 4-episode series, Mayweather-Hatton 24/7. We'll take our cameras to Las Vegas and Manchester, England, for a revealing look at both Floyd Mayweather and Ricky Hatton as they prepare for their upcoming showdown. Then on December the 8th, HBO pay-per-view brings you the live fight between Mayweather and Hatton with the welterweight championship of the world at stake.
They're going to stop the fight. They're going to stop the fight. They are.
They're not going to stop it, baby. Just box.
Come on.
You're going to box. Jab and move. Jab and move. Let's go.
You have to do it. Come on, wake up, baby.
You're going to stop this fight if you don't start fighting. Remember, you
Pero throw good shots, hard shots. Duro los shots.
Hard punches.
Stay low.
Seconds out.
Power jab, baby. The power of the dream, too, okay?
Let's go, let's go, let's go. Go.
I'm concerned in Julio Diaz's corner. You heard trainer Lee Espinoza say, hey, they're going to stop this fight if you don't get something going.
Well, I just think he's trying to motivate him. I don't see any signs that that is actually in the works at this moment.
You know, Julio has to decide what really works for him. Is boxing inside working for him, or is boxing outside working for him? It really all comes down to his game plan.
Yeah, but now it's almost too late, Lennox. He's so far behind. He's got to make something happen. Winning a few rounds by showing us that he can outbox him, if he can, is not going to get the deal done.
And don't discount all the body work that Juan Diaz has laid on Julio Diaz to take away some of that movement from round number 1 right through this end of the 7th. And again, Julio cautioned for leading with his head.
When Julio Diaz fought Castillo opened up cuts under both eyebrows with his head.
When Castillo stopped him in the 10th round of that fight, he was ahead on all 3 judges' cards. Right hand to the body by Juan Diaz. Lennox has switched to southpaw that Julio said he would use. Seems to have not paid one single dividend.
Not one. In fact, when he switches, he gets hit even more.
Sometimes when the fighter switches, it buys him a little bit of time while his opponent figures it out. But Juan Diaz doesn't even give him a little time when he sees him turn to southpaw. He is the nearest thing we've seen to a perpetual motion machine in boxing. It's not a style that's going to have him fighting when he's 40, but he'll have a hell of a good time until he's about 28 or 30.
He just turned 24 back on September 17th.
By the time he's 40, he'll be either the mayor of Houston or the governor of Texas.
We roll to the end of the 8th round. All Juan Diaz in the blue.
Chicago is a lightweight town. Its greatest fighter, Barney Ross, lightweight champion who went on to win a welterweight champion. Here you see him in his last fight against the super great Henry Armstrong back in 1938. Barney Ross, Henry Armstrong. Earlier, he fought 3 fights against welterweight champion Jimmy McLarnin and beat him twice. McLarnin, an outstanding welterweight champion. Barney Ross. What a fighter.
Chicago's best.
Oh, the fight's being stopped.
It is being stopped. Corner of Julio Diaz stopping the fight.
And you know, it's not a bad call by the corner because he's really working from a deficit.
And here we saw almost a replica of Juan Diaz's fight against Acelino Freitas. There comes a time when a fighter says, I just don't want to live with this fist in my face every second of the fight.
And they say pressure busts a pipe, and it definitely does.
So Juan Diaz moves to 33-0, gets his 17th stoppage, and for the second fight in a row, as Larry pointed out, same as with Acelino Freitas, Juan Diaz's opponent does not answer the bell to start the 9th round. He just does it with volume. He's a doubles hitter, but a great doubles hitter. And Lennox, it's amazing how he is able to take a fight and take away his opponent's strength. For Julio Diaz, it was backing up, it was boxing, keeping range, but Juan Diaz gets the fight to his comfort area.
And you know, he just imposed his will on Julio Diaz, and Julio really couldn't take it because you know, he wanted to move around, he wanted to box, but he couldn't do that.
So Gino Rodriguez get the word from the Julio Diaz corner that he was not willing to continue, and Juan Diaz now holds 3 of the 4 lightweight championship belts as Julio Diaz suffers loss number 4 in his career.
And he had to be careful what he wished for. This is what he wished for. He wanted Juan Diaz so badly, he had him in front of his face all night.
And I think he realized that despite the fact that Juan has said that boxing is his hobby and his law degree and his future outside of the ring is his work.
Imagine if he takes it serious.
I think he takes it a lot more serious than Julio Diaz believed it would be. Juan Diaz came into the ring with his 2 belts, and now he leaves with Julio Diaz's belt as well, as Diaz, Julio that is, does not answer the bell for the start of the 9th round. Lennox, it's just very impressive how this 24-year-old stands in the pocket, shows tremendous composure, and breaks down the will of his opponent, as he does time and time again.
Yeah, Julio wanted to move and box, couldn't do that. He wanted to stand and box, couldn't do that. Just too much pressure to deal with. Couldn't stand it, couldn't deal with it. Wasn't able to gain any strength from it, and this is the results.
For the official time of the stoppage, our ring announcer Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, the bell rang to begin round number 9. The official time becomes 1 second of round number 9 as the blue corner, Julio Diaz, advised referee Gino Rodriguez that he would no longer continue. The winner by TKO victory, now the unified WBA, WBO, and IBF lightweight champion of the world, still undefeated, Juan, the Baby Bull Diaz.
Juan Diaz dominates Julio Diaz through 8 rounds. And Mom Olivia, tears of joy as her Baby Bull Juan picks up win number 33 and his 17th stoppage. We take a look at the final punch numbers from this fight. It was all Juan Diaz as he just attacked Julio Diaz in this fight. You see the total thrown in favor of Julio Diaz, but Juan much more accurate. Juan even used the jab in the later rounds, but his bread and butter, the power punches. That's where Juan Diaz makes his hay, and he dug in deep, and he was awesome, landing 47% of his power punches in the fight, 282 of 606, and Diaz, really, Julio that is, had no answer tonight. So the Baby Bull, at 24 years of age, just keeps rolling along. Juan Diaz is with Juan Diaz. Larry?
Thank you very much, Bob. Congratulations, Juan. Was this easier than you anticipated with a fighter of his caliber?
Well, you know, I don't know if it felt easy, but in there, I was the one taking the punches, and it was pretty tough. He was tougher than I thought. He surprised me tonight.
In what way? Because it seemed you were just too quick for him most of the time.
Well, he stayed in there with me. I thought he was going to box a little bit more, but he was in there training with me. And, you know, Julio can punch. I'll give him that. He's a very, very tough warrior.
Did this fight mean more to you because, as you said earlier, it was personal?
Oh yeah, I feel like I'm on top of the world now. I feel like a King Kong right now.
All right, you've got 3 of the 4 belts. There are 3 potential opponents out there. Joel Casamayor, who many people regard as the linear lightweight champion. David Diaz, who's the 4th belt. And there's been some talk of Manny Pacquiao, but no indication that he's ready to fight you yet. Give us your thoughts.
Well, as you mentioned, all those fighters are great fighters, you know, but he just beat a legendary Mexican fighter, I mean Pacquiao, and I think that it's time for him to step up with a young Mexican warrior.
Yes.
Thank you very much, and congratulations, Juan. Just this last thought, guys. Yogi Berra once said, if people don't want to come, you can't stop them. 2 fighters, one from Texas, one from California. Why were they fighting in Chicago? This is a fight that should have had a full house of enthusiasts for both fighters somewhere out there. Bob?
All right, thank you very much, Larry. An odd place, but it is in David Diaz's backyard, and he is the other belt holder. But it really was an impressive performance by Juan Diaz. He took Julio Diaz out of his game, took his game plan totally away. He dictated the terms of the fight. Lennox, he's only 24, but he has tremendous savvy. He has tremendous poise. And we know he's smart outside of the ring, but he's pretty smart in the ring as well, isn't he?
He's smart inside the ring. He throws a great jab. I mean, the jab is always on point. You know, he moves ahead with it, and he applies constant pressure, and there's only a couple boxers that can deal with that, but he hasn't found one yet. So his next opponent, I'm sorry for his next opponent, whoever he goes up against, but it sure will be a good fight.
Well, this is the Diaz era in the lightweight division, and right now it's Juan Diaz that is the holder of 3 of the 4 championship belts, and the Juan Diaz era in the lightweight division looks bright for the foreseeable future. Well, we started this evening off with a look back at Pacquiao Barrera, the second fight between these 2 great champions. And when you think of Marco Antonio Barrera, after the fight he announced that that would be his last fight in the ring, and you think about Erik Morales, who earlier this year tried to move up to lightweight and lost to David Diaz of Chicago for his lightweight belt, which sort of signified the end of a great era of Erik Morales and Marco Antonio Barrera. A special era in boxing. Larry Merchant has more.
For a decade, Marco Antonio Barrera and Erik Morales were the biggest little men in boxing. Fierce, passionate warriors, they spearheaded a golden age of featherweights in heavyweight America. Morales was born over a gym in tough Tijuana. Barrera came from a middle-class background in Mexico City. When they collided in 2000, Barrera, once the faster rising star, had lost twice and was given little chance.
What a fight! Here comes Barrera! Here comes Morales. Erik Morales has never lost a fight. Marco Antonio Barrera has never wanted one more.
They fought with such improbable ferocity, Morales winning a disputed decision, Barrera winning hearts and minds, that their images shadowed each other for the rest of their careers, and no doubt beyond. By the rematch, Barrera had actually overtaken Morales in popularity. He defeated the British puncher showman, Prince Nassim Hamed.
He wants to close the show with authority.
He had restored the order of his proud Mexican heritage. Nothing could top the original, but Morales-Barrera too came close. And this time, with a late rally, Barrera got the decision. That set up the trilogy, but not before Barrera again was beaten, this time stopped by the young Filipino typhoon, Manny Pacquiao. Morales and Barrera needed that 3rd fight to remind themselves and us who they had been at their best.
A raging passion on the part of both fighters.
By then, their rivalry, like Ali and Frazier, was personal as well as professional. Barrera settled their differences in the ring. He won Act 3 decisively. Morales would go on to regain his faltering status with a strong performance over Pacquiao. But in rematches, Pacquiao KO'd him twice, reeling him toward retirement. Barrera survived Pacquiao in last week's last hurrah, but that's all. The next time Marco Antonio Barrera and Erik Morales meet, if not greet, will be at the Hall of Fame. Adios, amigos.
If you've missed any part of tonight's telecast, you can catch it in its entirety on HBO 2 tomorrow at 9 a.m. or 4:45 p.m. Juan Diaz versus Julio Diaz will be rebroadcast a final time, also on HBO 2 at 11 p.m. on this coming Tuesday. On November the 3rd, World Championship Boxing returns with a sensational matchup from the super middleweight division, when undefeated champions Joe Calzaghe and Miguel Kessler collide in front of an expected crowd of 60,000 fans in Cardiff, Wales. This fight will be broadcast live from the UK starting at a special time, 9 p.m. Eastern. On November the 13th, HBO Sports presents the latest installment in our Sports of the 20th Century documentary series, Michigan versus Ohio State, The Rivalry. This one-hour special takes a look at the storied history of a college football rivalry that dates back all the way to the 1890s. Coming up next on HBO, stay tuned for Real Sex. Some like it hot. So for our entire HBO crew, this is Bob Papa saying good night, and thanks for being with us.
This has been a presentation of HBO Sports.
I started boxing at the age of 9. I suppose at the first I always wanted to be a footballer, but after a year or two I realized my talent lied with my fists.
My family has been very supportive since I started boxing, even my mother.
My dad was a musician. Seems that the only one who can't sing in my family is me. At the end of the day, I had to find a way of doing something else.
My tattoo has no meaning. I just like science fiction. So I have some aliens and we have some Vikings. We are old Vikings in Denmark.
When I fight the dangerous opponents, then you see the best of me. And Kessler is a dangerous opponent, a very good fighter.
You can break down your opponent maybe a month before a fight, if you look him in the eye. The worst guy is a nice guy.
I don't fear any fighter. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm the best in the world.
I have the right mentality, and I'm more hungry.
I'm the world champion, and I will prove it once again.
It's gonna get a surprise.
It's Duran and Leonard all over again.
Boxing still has that glamour of superstars fighting superstars.
The place was New York's Rockefeller Center.
I'm Floyd Money Mayweather, lifestyle flashy.
With an announcement that has the boxing world buzzing.
The El Hombre Intocable, the Muchacho Guapo.
I'm Ricky Hatton, and you're about to get buzzed.
It's one of those fights where somebody's O has got to go.
Two undefeated champions.
He is the best in Britain, but I'm the best fighter in the world.
One historic night.
Floyd has disrespected me this week.
Tell him!
But come this December the 8th, I know I'm going to get his respect.
And our buzz cameras were there when the two fighters sized each other up.
This fight has the potential of being a fight of the year.
What might be the fight of the decade.
My curiosity is really roused by this fight because I think it's going to be a brawl.
Ricky Hatton, I mean, he's a machine. I hear that he trains like no other fighter. That's supposed to be a secret, but you'll watch it on 24/7.
And before the big event, HBO's 24/7 series will give you access to the fighters and their camps you won't see anywhere else.
You get a chance to come into two fighters' lives and just see them be themselves. I'm a razzle! I'm a dazzle!
Most people just know you as the fighter, but this is an opportunity for them to see you as a person as well.
24/7 is like me. It's the creme de la creme.
But that's not the only kind of training you'll see this fall.
I'm always up for big challenges, and Dancing with the Stars and competing in a world championship fight is making the impossible possible.
Let him do the Dancing with the Stars. Remember, Floyd. I'll just go in the gym and punch the bag and the pads and my sparring partners as hard as I can.
You're going to see contrasting styles, and that's what makes a great fight.
Skills pays the bills, so it really don't matter who's the bigger man.
Let's not talk about it. Let's just do it.
Watch for Mayweather-Hatton 24/7 starting Sunday, November 18th, and their undefeated welterweight championship fight Saturday, December 8th on pay-per-view.
This is Floyd Mayweather, and you've been buzzed.
God save the Queen.
This time on The Buzz, boxing fans around the world gear up for two enormous events as two undefeated champions unify their belts in Europe, and an undefeated welterweight challenges a modern legend at Madison Square Garden. On November 3rd on HBO, the Pride of Wales, Joe Calzaghe, faces off against the Viking warrior Mikkel Kessler from Denmark.
Hey, it's a massive fight, probably the biggest fight in boxing at the moment.
I'm not afraid of fighting outside of my country. I'm more than ready to fight over in Wales.
With an expected attendance of up to 60,000 in Cardiff, the European superstars are anxious to bring the Rumble to an American audience.
When they walk down the streets in their home countries, they're as big as any boxing star you're going to find anywhere in the world.
And with 3 super middleweight title belts on the line, all indications are pointing towards an epic battle.
I'm undefeated 15 years. I believe it's my destiny, and I think I'm going to win. So until proven otherwise, I'm a winner.
I will be more prepared than ever, and I feel good. I don't have any injury, so what could go wrong?
Plus, on Saturday, November 10th on pay-per-view, Miguel Cotto and Sugar Shane Mosley face off in New York.
Once you climb aboard the sugar train, you're never the same.
The welterweight title fight is billed as the Fast and the Furious, a testament to Sugar Shane's lightning speed and Cotto's raw power.
You're going to see one of the best fights you're going to see in your life. I guarantee you that.
I have nothing against Puerto Rico, but the night, November 10th, I have to do what I have to do.
Don't miss Countdown to Cotto Mosley on November 3rd on HBO, leading up to the live fight on November 10th on pay-per-view.
You've been buzzed.